Good morning, everyone. My name is Beth, and I am with the Education Alliance. At the Education Alliance, we work to connect businesses and community partners with public schools across West Virginia. And our goal is to help students discover career possibilities and build the skills and confidence they need for life after graduation. And one of the ways that we do that is through a program called Virtual Work-Based Learning. It gives students direct access to professionals and industries that they may not otherwise experience. And today we are excited to partner with Dow Chemical, giving you a behind the scenes look at real careers in a real workspace. This session is meant to be interactive, so as our speaker shares knowledge, I encourage you to ask any questions or thoughts that may come to mind. With that, I am happy to turn it over to Samantha with Dow Chemical to get us started.
Hi, everybody. As Beth said, my name is Samantha Payton and I work at DOW. A little bit about me. I'm actually a Nitro High School alumni. From there, I went to West Virginia Tech and I got a bachelor's in chemical engineering. I hired in with Dow right out of college on the EDGE program, which I'll get into in a little bit. I have a husband, Martin, that we've been with over 15 years, and we have two daughters, Allie, 9, and Aubrey, 7, and our first son, Max, the golden retriever. We are big sports fanatics, from you can tell, on the side from Steelers, WVU, and Pittsburgh Penguins. So let me minimize this. So this is Dow. Every answer starts with asking the right questions. In 2024, it was $43 billion in net sales with over 91 manufacturing sites across the globe. We're in 30 different countries and have about 36,000 employees. So one of the really cool and unique things about working with a global company is there's been days where I have worked with someone in a different state and or country and not talked to anyone at our site. Like I said, we're at over 90 sites across 30 countries, US, Canada, Latin America, Europe, Africa, Asia, etc. So specific to Dow in West Virginia, we have about 300 Dow employees and approximately 200 contractors. When you hear about Dow, people always ask which site. We're technically considered one site, but we have 3 areas. We are a tenant at the Institute site. It is owned by Altivia. The South Charleston site, which is a very unique aspect to Dow, is that we actually have an island in the middle of the plant where several of our facilities are located. And then there's also the Tech Park, which is where a lot of our research and development is. So some of the hiring and training, we have 4-year science and 2-year process technology degrees, or military equivalent usually required for some of them. We have a Bridge Valley apprenticeship program that we're partnered with on, the National Student Edge program through WVU and WVU Tech. Average tenure for employees is 15 years, which is where I'm at actually. And then for average employee salary and wage, it's $120,000 for our site. So some of the things that are made directly here in West Virginia are air compressor lubricants, antifreeze, cleaners, cosmetics, deodorant, fuel additives, herbicides, pesticides, paints, soaps, wind turbine, and solar panels. So for example, Procter & Gamble products such as Tide and the Downy Unstoppables are made directly here in South Charleston. The lubricant that goes onto your deodorant to where it slides on smooth is made also in South Charleston. And we also make material that goes into your cosmetics and such too. I think it was L'Oreal. Any questions? I know I'm going through this quickly, so. So one of the things that we are very proud as a company and as a site is we have a significant community outreach. I do not have the 2025 numbers, but I can give you the 2024 numbers. We hosted 10 site-wide volunteer opportunities with over 450 hours. Some of them include the Pulling Our Weight environmental cleanup, the Adopt a Teacher, where we raised money for local teachers to support their chemistry labs, school needs, and etc. We've done American Red Cross Sound the Alarm, where we installed smoke detectors, Booker T. Washington Community Center Day of Kindness. We host a chili cook-off and cornhole tournament to raise money for the Dunbar Institute Samaritan Center for their food bank. The Donald C. Kennard Memorial State Veterans Cemetery cleanup, raising money for the military families for the Gold Star Families races, holidays for the heroes, STEM camps, United Way, Dancing with the Stars, Day of Caring, etc. And then each winter, we host a winter coat drive for local schools. So talking about entry-level positions, and one of them being the operator and edge position that I talked about. So for the operators, they are the heart and brain of the plant. They're the ones that do the manual operation of the equipment for, out in the field. It is shift work, so it's 24/7, 365 operations, including weekends and holidays. They're the first line of defense, the first line to get the products out the door. We have I mentioned earlier, the Bridge Valley Apprenticeship Program. So that is a 2-year program where DOW will pay for your schooling with Bridge Valley to become an operator apprentice. And 2 days a week, you are paid to work on shift there to get real life experience in addition to getting your associate's degree. We also have process engineering, which is designing new equipment or updating existing equipment. This one is very virtual desk related. There is some going in the field, but it's mostly from your computer screen to do the design work. We have lab analysts. They complete lab samples and materials, whether it's for shipments or material coming out of the equipment to make sure it's within the quality specifications from the customer. Again, it is also a 24/7, 365 shift work outcome. We have reliability engineers. A lot of the reliability, they're typically more mechanical. They determine reliability issues, work with the plants to address reliability concerns, reach out to other vendors. For example, if there's a pump that keeps having issues, working with the pump vendors or possibly seeing if there's another type of pump that would be in better application. We have schedulers that maintain the reactor schedules, which is where our products are made. It is an evergreen document, as you can imagine. So as shipment demands change or shift, or there's issues in the plant, for example, they've had delays or the material wasn't on spec, then they have to adjust the schedule from there. They work with the plant for maintenance, downtime work, etc. The reliability engineer and scheduler are more of your traditional Monday through Friday, with the understanding of that there can be call outs on the weekends or after hours phone calls. The production engineer is our entry level, and a lot of times they're hired in through what's called our EDGE program. And it's a brand new, right out of college engineering program to where you can it's like about a 6-month period where you learn the production side of it and get an opportunity to get hired on full time. So for example, I was hired as an edge engineer before I ever graduated from WVU Tech. The production engineer is responsible for making sure the plant runs safely, efficiently, and the most cost-effective way to get material out the door. Again, it is your traditional Monday through Friday with the understanding you can have weekends, nights, phone calls, etc. And there is some on-call rotations as part of that. Production engineer requires a 4-year degree. The others can either be a 2-year or 4-year degree, pending what position exactly. So I'll pause for a second to see if there's any questions so far.
Okay, we do have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
When you were talking about the things you
I can't. I didn't hear the question.
Sorry, go ahead. Say it again.
when you're working on your production, like lubricants for antifreeze, do you work with major dealerships?
I'm sorry. It's echoing. I heard the antifreeze. What was the question with it?
Do you like produce it to major dealerships?
It sounds like, do you produce the antifreeze to major dealerships?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we have, sometimes it's refined. We refine it to go directly to. We used to actually have the airplane de-icer antifreeze business, but that is now in the Chicago area since Chicago is more of more has more need than us locally, but we do have the capabilities and we ship directly either to as an additive, pending what it is, or directly to it. We have the flexibility to do both.
Thank you.
Okay. So some more of our what's called senior level positions. Usually those are folks that have been with the DOW and the plant's facilities for a little while at least. For example, activity coordinators are typically operators that want to go away from shift work and go on to straight days. It's very similar schedule to a production engineer, your traditional Monday through Friday, quote unquote, office hours, with the understanding you can have call outs, calls in the middle of nights, weekends, on calls, etc. They are responsible for coordinating the maintenance with the production activities within the plants. And we'll skip to the gatekeeper. So gatekeeper, I've seen from multiple ways. I've seen them come from operations, but I've also seen them coming from the maintenance side too, whether it be a millwright, pipe fitter, etc. And they are the go-between for maintenance and plant work. So any maintenance, we do a lot of preventative maintenance and just to make sure that we stay on track and keep our equipment running as efficiently as possible. And so we schedule that given on the frequency that is recommended by our subject matter experts, make sure that work gets done and that we have the resources to do it. So production leaders, they're responsible for all of the area production. They maintain safe operation, trained personnel, etc. All of the plant type roles you've heard me mention all roll up through the production leader. So they're responsible, they're the main responsible party for everything. We also have training coordinators. So we in the plant world have a lot of training, as you can imagine. So they're responsible for making sure we have the appropriate profiles, that as employees change roles, et cetera, they're updated. Any new training sessions, all new employees are required to attend a 2-week in-person training. So they're responsible for coordinating all that. In the environmental health and safety world, we have what's called responsible care leaders, and they're responsible for all of environmental health and safety or EH&S activities on site. So any types of like standard changes, OSHA requirement updates, environmental regulation changes, it's their responsibility to make sure we get the appropriate interpretation and roll it out to the site at level. And last, but certainly not least, in order to keep plants running, we have quality coordinators. They're responsible for ensuring that we make product within the customer specifications. For example, if they need a material that has absolutely no water, if we have a sample come back that has water in it, it's their responsibility to help drive the plant to figure out what happened, how to prevent it, and what we do with that material, if it can be reprocessed or if we have to waste it and make a new material. So, as I said, I'm a chemical engineer, and one of the things that I wanted to highlight is taking risks. And a couple of these quotes resonated with me because how I became in chemical engineering is not your traditional, I grew up, I wanted to be a chemical engineer setup. So whenever I was in school, I took every math class that they could offer all the way through calculus. And my dad and my grandpa always said, you should be an engineer, you should be an engineer. And unfortunately, whenever I was in high school, activities like this to where you get real inside scoop on how roles are, it was not as prevalent then. So I had no idea what an engineer wanted to do. And so I was actually enrolled my senior year at Marshall University for marketing and advertising. I was at a softball game and the dean of engineering and the athletic director happened to be there, and they asked my coach, my softball coach, if I had signed with anyone. And he said, I'm not sure if she's planning on playing in college, but she bats third, so you better talk to her quickly. And so they talked to me about my GPA. I had over 4.0, and they offered me a scholarship for softball and a scholarship to go into engineering on the spot. And so I went, actually, it was my 18th birthday, went and toured the facility, and I said they asked about me going into mechanical side, but I wanted to do the chemical side because I liked chemistry. So I took a huge risk. I'm an introvert. I like my routine. This is what my path forward is. So this was very out of my comfort zone, and boy, did it pay off. So if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. So one of the great things about DOW is that you can have many types of roles, many career quote unquote changes, and never leave the company. For example, I did an internship with Bayer Crop Science, and having that little bit of summer experience led to me being hired on at DOW. And the facility I hired into, unfortunately, was shut down due to demand going elsewhere in the world. So I did a hybrid role working on improvement and quality that you had seen earlier. And at that point, I took on the production engineering role. At that point, I had been a production engineer for about 4 years, and I became pregnant with my first baby, and I wanted something a little less demanding and day to day. So I went into the improvement space, which is where you're responsible for securing funding to make improvements to the facilities, whether it's for safety, for improved capacity, etc. And I started out doing $25,000 to $3 million jobs. And then I took on a 50, almost $60 million job as the manufacturing rep, which basically means I was the plant liaison to make sure the plant got what it wanted. And for that same project, I ended up becoming the project manager. As you can see, I had a very manufacturing plant life background. And I talked to my leader, and I just wanted a change of scenery. So I ended up becoming the environmental health and safety delivery leader last year, and recently added on Triton operations leader. So I'm currently in a hybrid role. But I wanted to highlight that you can have your path set on what type of career you want, with the understanding that life happens, career changes, changes of scenery. Within DOW, you can have any type of career you want. So hindsight is 2020. Before we get into our activity, there's a few things that looking back at myself 15 years ago, like I said, I'm an introvert, so networking and actively seeking out mentorships was very hard for me. And if I could go back and tell myself to do it again, the first thing I would do is say, get out of your comfort zone, go find you a good mentor, and start opening up your network. Do not wait until you're ready for a change of scenery in your role or looking for something to do this. Be proactive. Always do your best, regardless of your current role. I remember in school, there were classes I hated, and I've had certain roles that I wasn't as much a fan of, but no matter what, you still have to do your best. So just keep that in mind, that even if it's something you're not as interested in, keep showing that you will continue to do your best regardless, and that will put you in front of others. Another thing is listening to shoulder taps, like my example of how I ended up in chemical engineering. That was very out of my comfort zone, which I don't like. So listen to them, because people have your best interest at heart. Always have plans A, B, and C in your back pocket, because no matter how you think your day is going to go, it's always going to go astray. So always try to have plans A, B, C, however many you think you might need in your back pocket. And last, but certainly not least, if there's one thing I can take, be your own advocate, because you're the only one to guarantee to be there for yourself, and make sure you campaign for yourself and you're a good one. So I tried to shorten that. I hope that would be okay. If you have any questions.
I think we're good.
Okay.
I do have one question. You talked about doing like multi-million dollar contracts for Dow when you were doing your
Yeah.
plant managing. Is that money that you keep? Do you have $60 million from those contracts, or is that how does that
So,
do for the compensation?
so no, that is money that we go all the way to the Chief Executive Officer, Jim Fitterling of Dow, to request that money and they go and get the capital money to do the investments. So as you can imagine, when you're requesting that type of money all the way through corporate, there is a significant amount of work and paperwork and justification involved. I started working on this project in 2017 and it's still going. So I'm not technically finished with it yet. But no, we as a plant do not pay it back. They give us the money, but the company uses it. The company does their return with the capital part of it. It's kind of like a loan, I guess, for the company. Is a good way to put it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they have to set budgets every year for how much you can spend. So
On a personal note, I just wanted to say I really love the idea of calling those opportunities shoulder taps. And I think that's a really good message, especially for students in high school, to think of it that way, that if you get that shoulder tap, you never know what chance that can bring to you and your career and to take a chance. So I really, I love that you shared that.
thank you. Yeah, I do not have your traditional. I always wanted to be an engineer story, so it's always good. It's always fun to want to share.
I like
Absolutely.
that as well.
I do know that you had were you thinking we still have time to do maybe one of the activities?
I would say the second one, the non-communication one, would be the quicker one of the two to do. So I'll
Okay.
skip through to.
So Samantha has an activity, and I think you have to work together to do this. So I know we're on a little bit of a time crunch. Are we good to do that class?
Yes, we're ready to do it.
Awesome.
Okay, so 90% of your communication is nonverbal. No talking, just how you present yourself, your facial expressions, how you're sitting in a class. That all of that is nonverbal communication. So we're going to practice our nonverbal communication to work together to make a project work. So everyone needs to stand up and line yourselves up based off the slide prompts. And the only rule is no verbal talking. So on the first one, everyone needs to line themselves up height-wise, shortest to tallest. So once everybody is lined up, let me know. The camera's on. Okay, so that one was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? It wasn't too bad. So for the next one, you need to put yourselves in alphabetical order. Again, no talking. Alphabetical order of your first names. Okay, so that one was a little more challenging because it wasn't as directly in front of you. So for the last challenge, now you need to put yourselves in order based on your birthdays from January to December.
What's funny is we did this activity earlier in the year, so we'll see if they remember their birthdays.
Okay. I should have known. That one's a good one.
I
Age,
love to watch.
age or month of their birthday.
Month of their birthday.
I was just gonna say, I love that we are watching them do the communication. It's so neat.
Yes. Okay, now go through and say your birthdays out loud to each other to make sure you got in the right order.
February what?
January 15th.
Oh. They messed up already.
Is everybody else in order? All right, so I'll share my screen again. So, as you can see, nonverbals, okay, I'll start with the questions first. What nonverbal signals did you find most effective?
Hand gestures.
Yes. So, what were the biggest learnings as you went and challenges as the challenges became more difficult?
How to better communicate, they said, got better as it went along.
Right. And what would you do differently next time to make sure you lined up correctly on your birthdays?
Write it, they said.
Yes, because that's one of the things with nonverbal use, thinking outside the box of opportunities. So the only rule was no talking. So writing it would have been a great addition. So based off time, I do not think we have enough time for the other activity. Does anyone have any questions for me about the activity, my career, any questions in general?
I have a question, actually. I don't know if you can answer it. This is a business class. In the business realm within DOW, what opportunities would students have to have a career with DOW in the business sector?
So with business, there are many opportunities as well. Not necessarily in West Virginia. Some of the potential is there. We have accountants, we have a purchasing department that encompasses a lot of different things. It can be the workers, like contractors that we get for the various sites for projects, maintenance, etc. We have raw material production type along with the schedulers, but also the ones that do the purchasing of it. We also have a finance department, HR department. Let's see here. We also have a lot in research and development. So they're the ones responsible for testing out new products, and also within that is the commercial department and product marketing. So they're the ones actively going and visiting customers, trying to get their business, making contracts, negotiating pricing, etc. So a lot of people, when they hear chemical plant, they just think of the plant itself, but it takes an entire village and then some to make it happen. So there's a lot of opportunities from any aspect.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No other questions.
Well, thank you all for having me. I'm glad we were able to make it work even on a shorter note.
Absolutely. Way to shift gears and make it work. That's just part of it, right? Whether you're in a school setting or a business setting, which is an important lesson to learn in any career. Flexibility and to be adaptable.
Yes.
So, well, thank you guys for everything. We appreciate your time today from DOW and from Nitro High School. And as a reminder, we have weekly work-based learning modules, and they can all be found on our website, educationalliance.org/work-based learning. And that's it for today. Thank you.